Ladies and gents, it's Alex Koons. I'm sitting here at Hot Tongue Pizza to bring you another one. This one was Zack and Kara of Boy Blue. Boy Blue is actually only a year old, but you can see where their journey is taking them. Their food is unbelievable. The pizzas that he's pulling out of these ovens look like they could be served at 5-star restaurant or the best restaurant in Los Angeles. And the killer thing about what him and Kara are doing is some of the stuff outside of pizza. Boy Blue has done a noodle bar pop-up. They're cooking Brazino. One of their most recent pop-ups, they're cooking clams. I mean, the amount of things and the creativity coming out of their pop-ups. One of the main takeaways was just how refreshing the conversation was, thinking about what you can do with these ovens and what you can add to a pizza pop-up that just simply serves, a 10 to 12 inch beautiful Neapolitan pizza, and what can set you apart. And hopefully there's an aha moment for other people too. It's like the kickflip didn't invent itself until somebody did it. Seeing people do stuff like this, it makes me rethink the way that a restaurant can be run and the creativity that can be had. And it's still crazy to this day, to me, what these ovens have provided and what you can do with them, what street food is and what a pizza pop-up is, and like the energy of these two was just, how do they say, palpable. I could feel it pulsing. They talk about learning to be adaptable, which is so important, especially when you're popping up, when you're setting up on the street. Some of their pop-ups weren't like guerrilla, but they were guerrilla. They talk about where to pop up, and specifically like where they like to do their things, usually outside of cafes or wine bars. What they're doing really fits into those kind of business models, which was very interesting. And if you want to learn how to sell out some merch, we touch on that too. This one got cut a little short. I got a inventory order on Monday, and so if it feels a little abrupt at the end, it's because we had a guy with probably 2,000 pounds worth of flour at our door. This podcast, like all the podcasts we do, are great. Zack and Kara, thank you so much for doing it. I had a blast. As always, I learned a lot. I hope y'all do too. Kendrick might be one of the greatest to ever do it, and someone who's obviously a GOAT, Willie Nelson forever. If you haven't ever heard the Willie Nelson, Toby Keith collab, jump on that, because that song's straight fire. Again, rest in peace, Toby Keith. I know you're going to enjoy this. Ladies and gentlemen, Boy Blue. Before we start the pod, I want to shout out our sponsor, Zabs. Zabs is incredible. Both their hot sauce sit on every table at Hot Tongue. Their St. Augustine and original are mind-bending. I'm talking naturally sweet heat and their signature slow burn. They got this secret pepper from Florida called the Datil. It is hot, it is sweet, it is perfect on pizza, on eggs, on anything. And I know that anyone who tries it is gonna love it. If you don't know about Zaps, you gotta check them out. And you know who put me on their hot honey, which I think is better than all of them? Nick Camacho. Shout out the man, the myth, and the legend for putting me on this. I didn't even like hot honey before this, but Zabs changed my mind. I wouldn't put it on every table at Hot Tongue if I didn't believe in how much it could enhance pizza. Do yourself a favor and go check out Zabs. You will not be disappointed. Anyways, I'll stop talking now. Let's get to the pod. Let's go.
Blue the cat. She's our CEO.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everything's
I
under her
love
name.
businesses that are named after animals.
Yeah. There's so many.
Yeah.
Obviously, Ozzy.
So, do you do all your dough work at home?
Yeah. So we turned one of Kara's rooms into our prep room, and right now we have six big shelves. We have like a nice long stainless steel and a short boy stainless steel.
Like a middle aisle.
And we turned like a table, just like a normal kind of desk, the small dining room table turned into like a little island, and then we have a full size fridge and a top opening freezer, all in that room, and just like all specifically for our pop-ups. And what else? That's pretty much it. And then it's all of our equipment.
Do you have a mixer in there?
Yeah, right here.
You're hand mixing everything?
Yeah, I hand mix everything. It's not like that bad. I do all the dough by hand, and I mean I kind of like have it. It's like a it's not a lot of like active time, but it's a lot of like strung out time to like do the dough. but I basically just incorporate everything, let it sit for an hour, kind of like do like a pseudo autolyse.
So the dough's like all shaggy and shit.
Yeah. So it just like hydrates itself, forms its own gluten, and then I just do like I take it out of the container and just like roll it up like that, and then throw it back in the fridge for like 48 hours. Ball it up 10 to 24 hours before, and so I like kind of made it that way so I have like flexibility if in case we're doing a pop up like the day before another pop up or
Yeah, it helps with conserving room in the fridge too for
Mm-hmm.
everything else, since we basically just have like like a larger home-sized fridge, but it's perfect because it fits the dough bus bin in there and trays and
yeah. No, at first I was balling up the same. I would roll up the same day I made the dough. I would just like kind of do like a little auto lease, let it sit for a bit, let it uh, bulk ferment just like a little bit, and then roll up. And at first I was doing only like 6 dough balls per tray, and so we'd have a max of like what was it, 10, 11 trays times 6, 66 dough balls. And I was like, all right, this is our max. This is all we could do every 4 days. And I was like, oh, no, there has to be like a better way. And basically in each, Winco bus tub, I could fit 55 dough balls. And now I could fit like 2 of those at a time. So we can max out at like 110 overlapping.
Mm-hmm.
And, again, just roll up 10 to 20 hours before. So it's like I could do like a batch rolled with another batch bulking. And so we could max out at, one. Oh, and then now I put 11 dough balls per tray. So now we max out at, 110 or so.
How many dough balls are you taking to a pop up on the reg?
It just depends. We kind of do the math based off of like, past experience with like with that particular place. And then I'll just like literally just do like, all right, our service is from 6 to 10. That's 4 hours. 4 times 60 minutes is 240 minutes divided by 5 minutes is our max.
yeah,
No, it's like how
he has
many
a very
minutes,
interesting
like,
All right,
reverse way
beautiful
of
mind
doing
over
it.
here.
and 240 minutes.
What are you talking about, dude? So how many dough balls, dude?
This is how it is talking to him about dough
What?
every
What?
day. Or I'm like, so 50. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
thank
Or I'm
you.
like-
Yeah, so like around,
I'm like-
so like when you go to Prado, like how many dough balls you pulling
Well,
out?
I figure out like what's the like our average is like how fast can I make pizzas?
Yeah.
It's like 5 minutes per pizza with like start to finish. So it's like the maximum amount of pizzas I can make is 50. So I'll bring 50. Or
Yeah.
if it's like somewhere where it's like it might be a little chill or a little slow or it's a Wednesday, I'll just do like 35.
Yeah.
And then we'll also see how we could supplement like our max profit by doing all
Like
the fun
small
little goodies we do.
dishes and like other things to overlap it. Just because like like since it's pizza, like, and we're doing it on the street, like people don't always want to wait a long time for the food to come out. So it's nice to have like some like cold or warm appetizer to come out too.
Yeah.
And like that also like maximizes like our time being there, and like the customers get to have like a nice enjoyable experience at having like a more fuller meal,
Yeah.
like, rather than just only having pizza.
Yeah. And obviously that's our whole thing too, is just like, what can we do that's not pizza? Like
Right.
we like, we'll see something that like inspires us. Either it's like a ingredient at the market or, something that we ate, or just like a shared appreciation for a certain dish and, want to do our twist on it. Or
That's like the thing with the pizza oven is like you want to utilize like that temperature for like kind of trying to cook like things the best that you can, and like working around that, which is like kind of fun because like we've just discovered like a couple of different things that work really, really well that kind of like get that same leoparding effect. Like when we do butterflied bronzinos, like the skin leopards.
it like
Like, which
blisters
is-
almost like a pizza crust. It's so
Yeah.
funny. Like,
And like perfectly like steams like the meat under it, so you don't have to flip it or anything. And
yeah.
it's the same with we've been doing gyozas a lot, and that just came from something like Zach and I were just like making to eat at home, and like I brought it to reheat in the pizza oven just like for me, like to eat, and it just worked so well that we were like, great, this is something nice to run. Like,
Yeah, they
especially
came out
at a bar when people like sometimes they don't want to eat like a full pizza.
They came out so sick because, like, you know, gyoza, you like fry it and then you steam it. So like Cara did that at home. Again, she brought a little sheet tray of them, and like because they have like just a little bit of oil in the dough, in the gyoza dough, they just like
Crisp
leopard.
up and
They like leopard just
so
like a pizza
nice.
crust again too.
Yeah, the other stuff you're doing looks like pretty elevated, like pretty high level. Where's the where did you guys learn to cook outside of pizza?
Well, I mean, Cara's been cooking for like 10 years, and
Well, I have to make the firm statement that I don't make pizzas.
yeah. So yeah, Cara doesn't have any pizza experience, and you know she refuses to learn. Just kidding. I'm kidding.
I like the focus being on Zach when it comes to like pizza because he has a passion for making dough, and like I think that gives like better balance for me to like focus on other things, like whether we have like smaller specials or like the seafood platters or doing sauces. Like that's my passion.
No, I mean it's such a nice balance because it'll be like, like I'll be focusing on the dough or like doing these little tweaks to the dough or just like concerned about the pizza, and maybe I'll have like a goofy idea, or like she'll have a goofy idea and then she'll like just execute that. We've come up with just like so many fun things. But again, like, Cara's been cooking for a long time, but like even just like working at Roberta's, like I worked there for 2.5 years, a year before COVID and a year and a half after COVID. And I mean, just being in that kitchen and just like wanting to learn certain things, or being like stuck on the oven, and like the sous chef at the time would be like, all right, figure out how to cook these pork chops in the pizza oven because like the pickup is so long on the grill, and it'd be like stuff like that. Or like we'd have like spot prawns, and I'd like cook that kind of stuff in the pizza oven. And so I got like very like conditioned and used to like cooking things that weren't pizza in the pizza oven. And I feel like that's like a big thing that a lot of people don't have, like they don't get that experience, or like they just don't think to do that. And like since before the beginning, like that was like always on my mind. Like when we it's funny, yeah, like when we were looking at ovens, I like before we started doing the pop-up, I was like, Cara, like, it makes so much sense to buy 2 rock boxes, because 2 rock boxes total out at $1,000, but one dome is 2,000. But like think of the possibilities.
Yeah,
like,
we were thinking of the versatility when it came to having the dome.
And it must have been like 2 weeks of like me going back and forth to her about like I really want the dome, and I think I'll regret not getting it if I just get 2 rock boxes, and then I'll stuck be making pizzas. And obviously like the flame is so close to like the crust, and it's like then I'm just gonna have these like wonky pizzas where like a little bit more cooking surface, and by the mantle, and have a little bit more cooking surface and like heat variety that way. And like again, like so glad I got that versus like the double rock box setup, because like from the very, very beginning, we're talking about this like yesterday or 2 days ago, like the very first pop-up we did sardines. Like we did a sardine plate, which was like so insane of us to like, just like, we're just going to do sardines like our first
and
time
also
around.
That was just kind of like doing that blind, like we only had tested it once, and that was the first time we ever lit the oven. And the pop-up we did was the second time we lit the oven. And
it was let me see if I can find the picture.
So you never cooked, you didn't try to cook them in there first?
So we got the oven maybe like a week before the pop-up, and it's just like this huge thing that's it's like 140 pounds, and it's like it takes like the whole hour to heat up, and it takes a whole hour to cool down. And so it's not like something that's like fun and easy to just like set up and like test out. So we just like tested out one morning at like
4 in the morning. We got it
right
lit.
On Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah, outside of our parking lot.
Yeah, and just like pulled it out, threw it on a table, lit the oven, tested out a couple dough balls, tested out a couple pizzas. Like I think I had like 6 dough balls, and we had like like 8 sardines that we cooked.
I mean, we saw them at the farmer's market that we go to, that we do some shopping at, and I was like, oh yeah, like these are fast cooking, and like I think they could be something fun to run.
Yeah, and I've had like this, fascination. I just like love sardines so much, and it's something that I've also cooked in the pizza oven like a couple times before. So it's like, oh, this would be so perfect with like a starch. And so I really wanted to like do like a little ode to like Central American food, which like a big thing is just like plantains in general, but like in Nicaragua they do these things tostones, and it's like a double fried plantain. So you get like green plantain, you fry it the first time, and then you flatten it out with like a plate or like a cup or whatever, and then you fry it again, and it comes like turns into like a chip.
Yeah.
And so we did.
Or like take on fish and chips. And
Yeah.
that was also when I realized that I had become the resident butcher, fishmonger, and fry cook.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we did like a Thai seafood sauce to go with it. Kind of like launched our whole our seafood section that was like inspired by like my background being Thai and like Zach's background being Salvadorian.
Well, it's something you don't see a lot. Most pizza pop-ups are just serving pizza.
Yeah.
And it's not like, I would never think to like cook anything else other than pizza in one of those domes. You know what I mean? But just talking about what you did like at Roberta's and it kind of being like a normal thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then for you to be like, to have that state of mind being like, what else can we do with this thing? I mean, it's pretty special. I mean, I think it's what kind of like sets your whole pop-up apart from anything else I've ever seen. I mean, the pizzas look beautiful, but I mean, like, you're also doing like, did you do like a noodle bar pop-up?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Zach, you've worked at multiple pizzerias in Los Angeles. So Roberta's, you've worked at Prime, and you are currently working at Pizzeria Sei.
Yeah, I worked at Roberta's, Prime. I worked at Little Dynamite for like
that's right.
a month. And yeah, now I'm working at Pizzeria Sei.
So who has the best pizza out of all of them, and who is the best to work for?
Honestly, I really enjoy working for myself.
Okay.
And, like my pizzas, it's getting there. No, I really.
That's a great answer. He basically said his pizza's the best, and he's the best person to work for, which is all probably very true.
No. I really enjoyed working for Prime a lot. That was like the first pizza job I had. At the time, I was doing Uber full time. I did Uber full time for like a year and a half, and like my license got suspended, and like I was like, all right, now I got to find a new job because I can't do Uber anymore. And like a roommate at the time was working there, and he's like, yo, just come work with me. And so Zach interviewed me because at the time it was just the Fairfax location.
Yeah.
This was like 2017 or something. Yeah, Zach just like sit down at like the booth, like at the bar with me, and we're just like sitting next to each other, and I was like kind of like talking to him like this. And yeah, he just like talked to me for like 5 minutes. Like I had brought my resume and everything, and he just like was fiddling with it and just like talked to me for like 5-10 minutes. He's like, all right, cool.
You got the job.
Yeah, you got the job. And I worked there for 22 months. Yeah, I worked there for 2 years the first time around, and the first like year and a half was front of house, and I was like front of house lead for like the longest time, and the weekends would be so crazy because we'd close at 2 a.m, and like the manager would leave at like the manager at the time would like leave at like 6 p.m., 7 p.m.
Nice.
And so it'd be like me, like front of house lead with our back house lead, our kitchen manager, and like Sergio, who's still there. He's like the GM or the KM of Burbank.
There's 7 of them, you know?
Of Burbank.
Yeah, okay.
Burbank is like the
Big dog?
The big dog, yeah. That's like they're just like popping all the time. Just they're like a powerhouse. And yeah, Sergio's a KM over there. And actually Sergio like was the one who taught me how to make pizza. Him and like this other guy, Alex. But I was like, yo, just like you got to show me how to make these pizzas, because like there'd be like times where they're just like so like deep in the shit, where it'd be like, and I'm just like kind of there twiddling my thumbs. And so they're just like, him and Alex were just like, all right, you're gonna stand here and make like 8 cheese pizzas, and they're just like keep on like, all right, do it again, and like just practice saucing pizzas. and like practice cheesing pizzas and just getting down like just like super fundamentals, like to a point where like they could just ask me to make cheese and pepperoni pizzas and it wouldn't be like a thing. And obviously like at that time I was already making squares because squares are easy. You just like open the pan up and just like top it. But so they got me into just like getting that down. And after a little while I was just like, yo, let me get some back house shifts. And so I would work like 3 front of house shifts, 2 back of house shifts. At the time I was just like wanted to like do more, and Roberta's was hiring. I was working like 5 days a week, and I was doing DoorDash like 1 day a week, or like sometimes if I'd get off early I would do DoorDash. And I did DoorDash, and I lived across the street from Roberta's. I still do. And I went in there and I was just like, are you guys hiring by any chance? And the like director of ops, like the main pizza guy, he's still there, Chris. He just like the lighting was all like super dramatic. It was like over his face. His like face was all shattering. He goes, "You, hold on 1 second." And he like runs away and like gives me his business card. He's like, "Just call me and we'll figure out like a day for a trail." I was like, "Great." And then did a trail there. And I was
The
like,
hell's a trail?
trial.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It's so funny because everybody calls it trials, but over there everybody calls it trails. And I don't know why. I feel like it's like a typo.
I don't know. I feel like
And-
that it kind of makes sense. You know, you're like on
Yeah.
people's trail the
Yeah,
whole time.
yeah. You're just like,
Yeah.
you're kind of like you're shadowing someone.
Sounds
and like,
nicer than trial too.
Yeah, I think so.
You're on trial.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
You're on trail.
but yeah. And then I did a trail at Roberta's, and then I did both jobs for a while, and then eventually just went straight to Roberta's, and then did like a year and a half, 2 years before COVID, and then so that's kind of like what launched pizza for me. But going back, yeah, Zach Fishman. Zach Fishman's the best. I mean, I know you did your pie to pie with Zach, and like honestly, he's definitely like the role model owner. Him and Jim, those are like the kind of people that you look at and you're like, that's like definitely like how to run a business, or that's how to be an owner. There would be like days where like, again, like we're just like in the shit Friday night, Saturday night, just like literally like just full of tickets, like literally like 60 tickets like within like that 30-minute time frame. And then there'd be times where like our rail would be so full that I would just like pile tickets upside down.
Yeah.
And we'd have like a stack like of 20 tickets upside down, and I wouldn't put them up because this is when I was like front of house still, and I wouldn't put them up, and I would just like wait for them to clear half of them, and then put them another like 20 tickets and just like tempo it, pace it out like that. And we'd have like 90-minute 2-hour ticket times, like especially when it was like Super Bowl and Halloween and like these big pizza events. But like Jim would come in and just like see that we needed something, like wouldn't say anything, like see we needed something, and like disappear and then come back like 30 minutes with like supplies and just like little things like that, where it was just like never like, oh, I'll get it like some other time. It was just like turn around and just like go get it.
Yeah.
And then like something like mistake would happen, or like a complaint or something, and like Zach Fishman would just like call and like, hey, is everything okay? Like, do you like need anything? Or we would have to like turn off tablets because it'd just be like so hectic. And just like, yeah, everything good? Like, cool. All right, great. And then, get off the phone. They're just both just like super normal, sincere guys that just like want to make sure, everything's running well, everybody's happy.
Yeah.
Like when I went back to Prime last year, I went back in like April. I only worked there for a couple months this year, but I think like my first day back, like first official day back, he came in and stopped by and said, "What's up?" And it was just like seeing how I was doing, like just happy to see me, and like that kind of stuff is just like, those little things go a long way.
Of course.
So it's like definitely nice to be around those kind of people and like see a good example of a good boss. And I mean, William's great too. William has been like a huge help to us both. Well, it's actually kind of funny. He kind of almost uses me as like his little guinea pig sometimes, because he's like, "Oh, you got this new flour, you want to try it?" And then like I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure." So like take a bag home, and then the next day he's like, "How's the flour?" I'm like, "I don't know."
I haven't cooked with you.
Yeah,
yet.
it's like, that it's a 72-hour process.
I think what's nice to hear is that like you especially with William, who owns Pizzeria Sei, and you work for him. Sometimes people like you hear about people like not being very supportive, especially when
like
like
doing your
somebody
own
goes
thing.
out and does their own thing. Like there is definitely like the other side of the coin.
Yeah.
And like to hear that, this is like a supportive situation that you're in, and like that That'd feel pretty good to me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, yeah, both of us just like trying to find balance with our day jobs and doing this, and especially like since we like want to transition and doing this like full time, and like we want this to be our like future. Like we're trying to like feel like right now we're just like both like
I mean, I think like the point about it is like it helps not being competitive. Like I feel like there is already enough competition, especially when it comes to like pizza
Yeah.
right now. And it's like, like the pizza community has been like extremely supportive, William included. And like in that, like he really just like believes in Zach. And like the fact that kind of like Zach like will take notes, but it's not like a way where he's like ripping off of like anything Pizzeria Sei is doing, and like it's like so different. So with each enough respect to each party, that really helps. And like that's why like we've been able to do what we do, and like that's really just helped out a lot. And like I've got to see like transition from the beginning of how like when Zach started working for Pizzeria Sei, how that's like affected the dough.
yeah.
And like change a lot of his like mentality when it comes to like that, like coming from Pime, and like it's really made our dough something special.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, I mean that's like what's been like kind of like fun to like stand back and look at is like like all of our inspiration for everything, but just like seeing how like working at certain places or like eating certain foods, or like us like we went to Mexico City for like a week and a half back in November, just like seeing how all that stuff like influences our like menus or like the dough.
Or really just even like the format, like less
the
of
format,
like
yeah.
the menu I find like from certain places, but just like embracing like abstractness of what a pop-up restaurant looks like, rather
Yeah.
than just trying to treat it like a restaurant, because you really can't.
Oh yeah,
And like
100%.
I think that's like what the big tip that we try to like tell people with like new people starting pop-ups is like you have to be adaptable. And that's something that like I've had to like like I worked around that for a very long time, and I knew that was something that like I like got to help with when it came to starting Boy Blue. Was like I've been doing the pop-up format for at least like 5 years now, like after finding that like working in restaurants didn't really work for me, especially like I just liked working in like the same with Zach, like places that I can really learn something from.
Yeah.
And like that's why like I trained in like Scandinavian restaurants and like a little bit of Italian, but just to like get what I need out of it, in terms of like getting the skill sets I need to be able to like work and play with all the different fun products.
You were doing pop-ups for 5 years, like
Yeah.
your own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it actually
And that's
actually,
like
that's
like
why
with
I
the
was
noodle
like,
shop and stuff. That was
Yeah.
like to see the different little concepts that I like to bring back, and it's just like things that you don't really like see, or like that I want to exercise for myself in terms of like always like honing down on these like different skills. It's like not too many people doing noodle pop-ups, let alone soup that has blood in it. Like,
Yeah.
like the boat noodles, which is like something that's like dear to my heart, and like that Zach has always had like appreciation for, is like we've always bonded over food, and that was like how our friendship was paved like since
Yeah.
the beginning.
Ooh, we want the vegan meats. We want the vegan cheeses. Are people coming up to you and asking you, do you have vegan options? Do you have vegan meats? Well, guess what? A lot of them are not that good, but there is one that reigns superior, and that is Beehive. Everything that they make at Beehive is levels ahead of what you can get in a grocery store. Their pepperoni, their crumbled sausage, their cheeses, there is no contest. And the owner is one of the coolest people I have ever met. They make incredible products that go on your pizza, and it is dope plant food. That's what they call it, and that's what it is. Beehive, the best. Look no further. It's Beehive, baby. Straight out of Nashville. Good people, great product. Check them out.
It's
So-
taken me a very long time to be a half functional human being.
Which is like so much of our job right now is like having to be social
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like keep up, and
Yeah.
like it's also like the beauty of it, because I mean, I think our favorite part is seeing our friends who come to the pop-ups and support.
Yeah.
They always look like a fun time on Instagram. Like, it feels
Yeah,
like,
always
it
a
feels
fun
like you got
time.
like a lot of homies out there.
Yeah, we try to, and I mean, I think that's like also what kind of made us like step back and like change our focus a little bit, is just like trying to stay more in Echo Park and trying to stay on like the east side of LA where like all of our friends live, because it's just like, you know, when we'd go to places like Long Beach or we'd do these like kind of farther pop-ups, you know, there's all of our friends were like, oh, I want to go but I can't. But it's like ever since like started doing like more Echo Park stuff, it's like, you know, like 8-10 of our friends come by, and it's like just makes it like so much more enjoyable for us. And I think, and obviously they love it too. It's like sometimes we'll like unfold another table, like throw out like our like ice chest, and we'll just have like 4 friends lined up. Like that was the other
And
night.
it's like nice to have like a balance between like that, because like we also like really like cultivating communities like in different places like Long Beach, or like, you know, like we've been popping up at Whittier, like at Sala Wine Bar, and it's been really, really lovely to see like such like, you know, strangers and different faces who come out specifically for the pop-up, because like in those kind of areas, it's kind of like a desert for, you know,
Fun,
like different
funky
things. It's just like, it's a lot of like families and communities.
Yeah, that's what was really nice about doing Whittier, especially like the first time we did Sala in Whittier, which is what, like a month ago.
Yeah.
It was like no one that we knew came out, but so many people came out, and it was just because, you know, we were putting on like a funky menu, and like everybody just like, we have to go try it, and just
they were like, they're just about it, you know, like
just like super excited to check us out. And that was like really nice to see, that like getting to that point where we, you know, catch attention of like these, you know, random communities that like have no idea what we're about, but just like get it, you know, they just like see our Instagram and just like get it, like, oh, you guys are doing like,
and it's like, it's about like building that line of trust too, between like just like basically trying to convince people that we know how to cook, and like more than just pizza. I feel like pizza is a really good like conveyor of that, where especially since we always do like something funky and like just something like interesting to go, like especially with like, you know, I love working with wine, and like I feel like people who do enjoy wine have like a nice like appreciation for like all the beautiful like fermented things that Zach makes, and like, you know, just like more open to trying on like broader things.
Yeah, that's like definitely been our focus, is trying to find places with like, trying to find like wine bars or places that like serve wine, or just even like cafes too, just like places that have that audience that, you know, is far more open to try, you know, grilled prawns versus just pepperoni pizzas all night at, you know, a dive bar.
Yeah. But I mean, I always do recommend our pepperoni pizza as a first go-to for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, like obviously working in pizza, like I already know it's like 60% of business is pepperoni pizza. And so like, I think, I mean, from before the beginning, I just like always tried to make it a point when I was just like coming up with stuff in my head. It's like, how can I make something special, or how can I make something like our own, or just like stand out, just like little things, just like, you know, like our pepperoni pizza is has chili crisp on it, and it's like a Calabrian, it's like a mix, it's a blend between like Calabrian and this like Mexican pepper, Morita peppers. It's like a nice like smoky pepper, and yeah, I mean, like that was like my way of putting a little funk on like the classic.
Yeah,
and,
I mean, it's like always ever changing, especially with the chili crisp. Because I mean, when we got back from Mexico City, we brought back like 10 kilos of chili peppers.
Yeah, we like 2 full IKEA bags just full of
our
like,
pantry is stocked when it comes to these things.
Like I was just like, I just want to get it all so I never have to worry about running out again. Because I was using another pepper before, but that Kara brought back from Oaxaca, and I like depleted all of it so fast. Like within like 2 months, just like burning through all of her.
Yeah,
like,
we use a lot of chili crisp, and you know, pepperoni pizza pays the bills.
Yeah.
Did you already have the van for your pop-ups?
Kara's been doing like pop-ups for like 5 years, right? And that's also like why I like reached out to her in the first place, like her specifically, when like I was like I wanted to like do this pop-up idea and blah blah blah, and like then it transformed into like us doing the pop-up. But a long time ago, like 10 years ago, I used to do like what do you call it, like I used to like work at like state fairs and county fairs with my mom, like selling products, like doing demos and like selling products, and like doing like home and craft shows and boat shows and just like all these little shows selling things. And that was my mom's van, and she upgraded to a Mercedes Sprinter, and yeah,
Those are dope.
she upgraded to like a $90,000 Mercedes Sprinter.
That's what's up.
And this was sitting in Florida, and she had it like shipped to me. Just like she was like,
Those are dope vans.
no, I
Those
love
ones,
this
like,
thing.
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
How long has Boy Blue been a thing?
Our first pop up was July 2nd
Of 23.
of 23.
Yeah, so it's
like
very new.
exactly
Very new.
7 months. A
How
couple
long did you
hours.
talk about it before like deciding to do it?
2 weeks.
Yeah, no,
Damn, all right.
That's what it felt
That's what I'm
like.
talking
I mean,
about.
No, we spent like couple months just hanging out in diners and like pretty much just started like slowly conceptualizing what
Yeah.
this pop up would look like.
what it would look like.
And I just basically turned to him and I was like, so I'm just gonna help you with this because I feel like this is already involving me without you asking.
Yeah, because at first it was like, all right, Kara's gonna be my consultant. Like in my head, like Kara's my consultant. She's been doing pop-ups off and on like since before COVID, and like during COVID, Kara did a lot of like, what would you call it? Just like a lot of like pre-order kind of stuff.
I just started selling food to people
Yeah.
out of my house, like kind
Yeah.
of like to pay the bills, but it was also like just extremely fun because I just have like, you know, friends who were just like, I'll buy anything you're gonna sell me.
Yeah.
But when we started talking about like doing this food pop up, I had already started buying like certain equipment. Like I already bought the fridge and I bought the freezer, and like that was just like also like to do my own thing. Like,
Well,
but-
I feel like that
But
wasn't.
it was also,
it wasn't
like-
like you bought it. It was like, buy this fridge, Kara. Like, or like.
well,
and-
he definitely convinced me a little bit more
Yeah.
into it, and which is funny because he had no like way of like storing the dough.
Yeah.
Otherwise, too.
well, that's why I was like,
he
buy this
gonna
fridge.
store the dough in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was definitely scheming a bit because,
Scheming is a good word
you know, I
for
was
that.
kind of like,
Plotting his sleep,
yeah,
scheming. Yeah, we're gonna need that fridge.
yeah. I mean, no, I mean, like her friend, like, because I mean, by that time we were already hanging out every single day. Like, it wasn't like she bought this fridge. It was like we were hanging out every day, and her friend was selling this fridge, and Kara was like, "Oh, I really want this fridge, but like, I don't know if I need it." And I'm like, "It's only $80. I'll help you pick it up.
Yeah.
Like, let's go get it." And you know, and same with the freezer. I was like,
I was
like,
just making a lot of ice cream for
she
fun.
was
and I
making a
had
lot
no
of ice
freezer
cream for
room,
fun.
So I needed
and
the
I was like, no,
freezer.
let's go. I'll take you. I'll take you to Best Buy, and let's go get this freezer. And so we pulled it to Best Buy in Culver, and I'm like, no, let's go. Let's get it. So I was definitely scheming a bit. Like,
I mean, I think this is why the ball got rolling real fast
no,
when it
that's,
comes
that
to us
is
doing
why.
the pop.
Yeah, it was like very much a concept that like I wanted to do, and it was just like something that I had the van and like I just like wanted an outlet that wasn't kind of for someone else, because I got like very burnt out like trying to like put things on the menu and like also just like work so much. And again, reach out to Kara, or like not reach out, we were like already hanging out and like really like was just, like conceptualizing it like she said, and then like she said, it was like, when are you gonna ask me to help you? Because like obviously it's just like having these like psychotic ideas of like wanting to do, you know, the pork chops and prawns and sardines and like all these other things, and also make pizzas and do all this stuff, and it's like, of course, like there's no way in hell like it'd be possible to do solo. It'd just be like ridiculous.
I mean, I think like part of it is like we kind of do help each other like hone in on like perfecting things.
Yeah.
Just like because we do have like grand ideas of our own, and it's like nice to have like a soundboard to be able to like talk about it with and like have something to taste with and like give their input in like such an honest, like true way.
Oh yeah,
So.
we're just like constantly bouncing back and forth, like just like constantly. Like we'll be driving to a pop up, and then Carl will be like, "What about roast beef on a pizza?" And then it'll be like, "Well, I don't know about roast beef on a pizza because it cooks weird, blah blah blah." And then we'll just like keep on bouncing back and forth about like things until like we have this like concept that actually works, and that's like. It just like happens so much to where we have like so many ideas on the back burner, just like notes of just like random things that are like either like 75% there or like there, but we're just like waiting for it to be in season or like waiting for like the place to sell it at.
Yeah.
And that's like been like just the best thing about this is being able to do that. Even like our Caesar salad was like we go to the Korean markets a lot, like down in K-Town, and we must go to like 5 or 6 different markets like every week kind of thing.
That's like in our regular rotation.
Yeah, like we'll go to like there's Armenian market by our house. We'll go to like Korean market. We go to a couple like Latin American markets, Thai markets, obviously, and
Like for fun or
both.
Yeah. I mean, it's our how we get our steps in,
is there any consistency in your menu, or is it pretty much random?
No, I mean it's definitely. I feel like it was a little bit more random at first, but it was also like kind of trial and error, just like kind of seeing like what sells, what people like, and I feel like after we kind of got a better idea, we've kind of kept it a little bit more consistent.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have like a formula that we'd like to do now where it's like, I think the pepperoni and margarita will always stay in the menu typically, unless we're having like a special collaboration night or something. And we always do like basically like one like funky pie and one white pie. So that's kind of like a nice balance because it feels like there's something for everyone.
Yeah.
And like nothing overlaps at all.
Yeah.
Like it's always like try to always do like 2 meat pizzas, 2 vegetarian pizzas, 2 red sauce pizzas, and 2 non-red sauce pizzas.
Yeah, and it's funny because when it comes to like the pizzas we run, the more girl dinner pizzas, Zack invents, and then I'm like hot dog pizza.
No. Yeah, I'm like I came up with like this idea for like a lavender pizza, like it must have been like February or March, and then I like made like one in like April or May, and I was like, oh, this thing's kind of weird, it needs some work, and then we came back to it, in I don't know, like August or something.
Like I found like lavender water, and like that was something we added to the cream.
Yeah, because like lavender buds, like doing like macerated lavender buds, or like doing like steeped lavender buds in cream.
Really bitter.
It's like so bitter.
We tried it.
It's like you're eating potpourri.
Yeah.
So we got like distilled lavender water, and then like incorporated that with the cream, and that just like made it way more palatable. But yeah, I mean, like my concept is like, all right, we're gonna do a lavender cream with fior di latte, pecorino, honey, and then we're gonna finish it with a little bit of lavender buds. And then her concept is like, all right, we're gonna do a LA street dog but pizza, and like
Which one sells better?
And
the street dog every time.
No.
Actually,
that Practical Magic which was her name. That was like the one that she picked out. It's such a great name.
Shout out.
Great movie.
Yeah,
great movie.
And that's like kind of like because I was already naming like just it's like I feel like every pizza person always names something after a movie or a band or like a or a song or like whatever, and it's like that's always like the pizza dude thing to do. And so I was like already had that in my head, but then like she came up with Practical Magic. I'm like, all right, that's settled. Like everything is gonna be like movie names.
Kind of.
No, the human mind works in patterns, so it's probably not the worst thing to do.
No, and it's like fun and it just like makes it.
It's funny because like no one questions it too.
Oh yeah, no one questions any of it. It's
no
like,
one like bats an eye, like even when they're like very
like yeah, we'll get the matongo, and it's like
and it's like I don't think anyone's like really
I've
like
never
seen that like Japanese arranged movie that everyone just turns into mushrooms. So
yeah, it's like a 1950s like Japanese horror movie.
1960s.
Sounds like something Matt might be into.
But wait, we gotta go back to the LA Dog pizza because we ran
This
That was Friday.
past Friday.
That was
yeah.
Friday, and that thing was so good.
Honestly, I think it's like one of my favorite pizzas we've ever
Like
made.
that thing was so good that we're like, maybe we should just run this sometimes.
Yeah, and that was like after a friend's like who were having like a surf video premiere,
Yeah.
and the video was called Hot Dog Hellscape. So
Yeah, I was like, the
Sick.
video was called Hot Dog Hellscape, and I was
Uh-huh.
like, what if we did a hot dog pizza? And then she was like, what if we did a hot dog pizza? And then she was like, and then I thought of like some goofy idea of like, I don't know, like cheddar cheese, jalapenos, like just get kind of gross. And she's like, no, like,
and I was like, how do we make hot dog pizza sexy?
yeah.
and then that's
Yeah,
when
and
we
How,
came up
how
with
did
it.
you do that?
So,
I want to know about this sexy hot dog.
oh,
pizza.
it's sexy. So, we
Tell me it was a Polish dog from Costco.
Oh, that,
Oh,
no,
that
that's
would
a
have
little
been great.
sexy.
No. We did Farmer John's all beef franks. Shout out to Farmer John, and we cut them like nice and thin at a little bias. So we had like almost like mini pepperoni hot dogs, and we did cooked bacon and
We did marinara with a swirl of ketchup on it, just to add a little sweetness and
Yeah.
not make just like a ketchup sauce.
yeah.
And then we did charred onions and Fresno chilies, and then pickled jalapeno peppers.
It's like archives, so you just
Oh.
have to go back. Yeah.
I think that's it.
Yeah, it was pickled jalapenos, fresh red. Those were Fresnos, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, fresh red Fresnos, charred onion.
It looks wild.
Yeah, hot dog.
This
Sexy.
is great.
No, it was great. It was. It
It's
was.
hard, so the chopped up hot dog it kind of takes me out of the element.
No, totally. But I mean, if you cover it with a bunch of peppers and veggies, like
No, I bet it was delicious. I
Yeah.
can smell it off your phone.
yeah, I mean,
But it was nice. We did like a twice cooked hot dog.
Yeah.
So like
yeah, we
get a little more texture in it because
threw it in the oven at like
Hot dog's a little
400
soft.
degrees for like 20 minutes, and it like sweated the hot dogs, so they weren't like juicy, wet hot dogs. They were nice and like ideal.
You sold out all of your hats. You just did a little hat
Oh, yeah.
drop, and you sold all your hats out.
I have a hat for you in the car.
Oh, I'm so excited because I was bummed. Before I could even say I wanted one, like your next post was like, sold out
Sold
of
out?
hats.
Yeah.
And I'm also thinking to myself, what the fuck? How's this? I have like a brick and mortar, and like I've had my hats for 6 months. You know what I'm saying? Like I have an actual restaurant. People come in here. I think I
right.
still have like 30 hats left. I've
Jesus
sold
Christ.
15 hats.
People are a fan of the clown. The
Okay,
clown just
so
really does
Two
something.
questions. One, how the fuck do you sell out your hats? Like it's a goddamn fucking Supreme drop. And then two, tell me a bit about the branding.
Okay.
And the name.
Okay. So I mean, the hats. I was like, kind of scheming again. I am definitely a schemer. I have these little
I like that.
I have these little like
self-proclaimed schemer.
I have these little ideas. I'm like, Cara, what if like I just do this? And you're like, she just looks at me like, what's wrong with you? Do it. You know, like where like so. I really wanted the hats made. Cara really liked the solid blue. I really liked the two-tone.
So we went with both.
So we went with both. Yeah. And I got them made like before the holidays, and they took forever because of the holidays. Like the owners like went on vacation and stuff. And so I got them, finally like picked them up. And then I like sent a picture to Cara. I'm like, got the hats. And she's like, oh, I can't wait to drop these. And I was like, what if we just don't drop them and I just like post it on our story, and I'm just like DM for info, like no price, nothing. I just like literally just posted on our story, DM for info, and like, and then it was like, then we'll drop them if like we still have any. And yeah, everybody, like all of our friends and like all these people just like, yo, let me get a hat. Didn't even question like the price, nothing. They were just like, let me get one. And yeah, sold them all in like 6
And
hours.
Given that it's also like, you know, I thought it was funny that no one questioned like the price point, because also like we didn't plan to charge a lot, and that's kind of
No.
like our whole thing is like we want to make everything we do like extremely accessible to
Yeah.
people, and like
Yeah, like I didn't like say how much they cost, but we sold them for $20. They like cost us $10 to make, and I'm just gonna sell them for 20, just to like make our money back, and that way like I could afford to give a couple for free and save one for Alex Koons,
Thank you.
owner of Hot Dog Pizza.
Much appreciated. And what's
Yeah.
your average price pizza?
So like our margarita is 16, and our Cowboy Killer's 17. Cowboy Killer is our pepperoni pizza,
12-inch pizzas?
10-inch.
Okay.
10-inch, sometimes we'll make them like a little bit bigger, but it's like 10 and a half inches. 16, 17, I have a couple 18. It just like goes like 16 to 20. really. And that's like where I like try to cut it off at 20 unless it's something special.
Yeah.
Like we did a crab curry pizza for a collab pop-up, like a Thai crab curry pizza, and that was 23.
22? Yeah, 22.
It was like 22 or 23.
Yeah.
And then the chanterelle pizza is 24. But yeah, that's because chanterelles are $20 a pound.
Yeah.
Actually, well, we got a guy that like forages them, like
For
up
us.
yeah, basically
In
for
Topanga.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lives in Topanga and he like sells them to us for like $19 a pound.
Yeah.
But like
But it's nice because it feels like, we're just paying for its time.
Yeah.
Which is like,
yeah, and he's like an outdoor like photographer, like nature dude. So he's just like, and I already know he loves doing it.
Yeah.
And then like the first round of chanterelles we got for like $24 a pound at the farmer's market. So it's like it's expensive, so we kind of have to put it at that price. But yeah, going back to like making things accessible, it's like, if we're like popping up in somewhere like Whittier or Filipino Town or like some of these other places where it's like, there's like a huge disparity like between like salaries and stuff. It's like we don't want to just like, and it's like, just like I really try to like not have things just like at a crazy price.
yeah, or it'd be like too exclusive too, like it's such a big point to us for us to like have many people like try our food as possible and like get to enjoy it like in like the most like honest way.
Yeah.
I think you have a lot of freedom being a pop-up because you
100%.
can keep your overhead down.
100%.
Unfortunately, like once you start moving into a bigger space, like you don't. It's not even about accessibility. Like you don't.
Yeah.
You almost you stop being able to control your pricing because
Absolutely.
of whatever situation you got
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
I'm very jealous of that situation, being able to price out stuff,
Yeah.
in a way that like
Yeah.
no one's missing out.
Oh yeah, no, of
Totally.
course. And I mean, I like, it's like a daunting thought and like very aware of like that. I mean, just like, the cost of labor and obviously rent and everything. Like,
Do you have like a goal, or have you talked about like what you would want to do moving into a space like that? Would you like, is there any plans for that? Have you thought about that? Do you look at
we try to like kind of keep our heads down and like the blinders on. I feel like we try to like, like not talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
But-
one of those things. It's like, in, this day and age in Los Angeles, like unless some miracle happens where like a really cool like brick and mortar that would work for us, when like that is like inexpensive, it's like probably not going to happen for a while. And I think like Zach and I are really happy in the space of like not having like the responsibility to be able to having a brick and mortar
Yeah.
at this point. Like
Yeah.
it kind of gives us the freedom to like run these kind of things that are like more abstract and like still build our following, because I mean it's still pretty new.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, also don't get us wrong. Like we definitely still talk about it a little bit, like kind of daydreamy, where it's like, our ideal would be like cafe style.
Yeah, not a pizza shop.
Yeah, not a pizza shop. It'd be like cafe style where like ideally, like if we could afford it, or as in like if we could make enough money, it's like just pizza Friday, Saturday, Sunday only. And also it kind of like leads into our like thing of like being accessible, but also like a little exclusive, like, or like, pacing yourself out where it's like people don't get burnt out on the pizza. So we're just doing it Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, we've talked a little bit about like doing like a late night concept, because I mean like a really big thing with like us is like, we've both been in the industry long enough, and honestly there's not a lot of food in LA for, people coming off of ships to eat, and like that would be kind of like something that'd be fun, is to focus more on those off hours. But still trying to find a balance between
Yeah.
like being able to make a living. So
Originally, I mean, like before I realized it wasn't like really that feasible, I was like, I would love to do Monday night, Tuesday night pop-ups, like industry night kind of things. And we're just selling like $10 cheese pizzas. And then like, a month later, I'm like, well, I guess we can't really do that, but we'll do Thursdays.
happy medium
But
in between.
yeah, like trying to find the balance where like we could still survive, obviously, because it's like obviously there's a lot of time and effort and money put into it. So, you know, we have to make it worth it for ourselves, for
We've
sure.
had to like be in that way like smarter about what we're scheduling in terms of like pop-ups, because people think like, oh, you can pop up any day of the week because you're free to. But it's like, in reality, it's just like, you know, if we do like these bars that are like, oh, come anytime, like it's not great for us, because most of the time it's like people only go to like drink. They don't really go to eat unless they're like coming out of the bar like late night, and that still like doesn't guarantee a living. And we're just like not trying to be open until like 2 a.m. And then like by the time we break down, like getting home at like 3:30, 4, you know,
like unloading everything, and it's just like 4:30 before we could even like think about laying in bed. And for me, I'm just like always like so wired that it's like 6 a.m. before I even lay in bed. So yeah, we definitely try and avoid that. For the most part, like our cutoff time is usually 11. And it's also like the sweet spot where like there's like the range at the bar where it's like 8 to 10:30, like people are just coming in and like they're still hungry, and obviously it's like dinner time. And then like after 10:30 to like 12:30, like either no one leaves the bar or everybody's just like drinking. So it's like no one eats. So it's like you either shut down at 10:30, 11, or you stick it out for an hour and a half of nothing to like get that, to like gamble the last minute, like people leaving the bar. And like we've done like that a couple times where all of a sudden it's like 1:30 and like, wait, where is everybody? And like we don't even notice that everybody just like left the bar either through like another door or just like walked right past us. And it's like, so we just like sat here for an hour and a half gambling to get that last $200. And it's just like didn't happen. Yeah. So now we're just like, we just try and focus on the wine bars, the coffee shops, not, you know, again, like pull up with intent or like pull up like aligning with another event.
Yeah, like especially like coordinating kind of like an activity for people to come and hang out and do, like other than like eating our pizza. Like this next week we have a pop-up with Hilo Wine Bar in Culver City. And, you know, I was like, I really don't see like so much viability for us, like, you know, just going to sell pizza there. And I was like, how do we all feel about like coordinating a wine tasting to go with it?
Yeah, Hilo was like, oh, that's a great idea.
Very supportive of it.
Yeah, they're like, oh, that's a great idea.
People are so open to, you know, having these ideas.
Yeah, sometimes people just don't think to do those little things. And that was like an amazing idea from Kara. It was just like, no, we should do a wine tasting with it. If this is like a, you know, a place that sells bottles, we should also allow them to sell bottles, you know?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, now we're coordinating with Scotty Boy Wine for this next Friday. And he seems like a pretty poppin' winemaker, like nice and funky. And we'll have like some funky pizzas to kind of pair with his wines. Yeah. And so just like doing those little things, like definitely goes a long ways. And also just helps like our audience, or like grow our audience. Yeah. Instead of just like, all right, we're going to pop up at this dive bar every single Friday until people realize we're there every single Friday. Yeah. And then they'll be like, are you here this Friday? Oh, okay, I'll be there next Friday. You know? Yeah, and that's kind of like...
we'll see them 3 months later.
Yeah, and we'll see them 3 months later when they finally like, oh, right, they're here every Friday. You know, so like we definitely kind of learned that the hard way at times too, of like going somewhere every single week. And... you know, it'll be like, we'll get home and then the next day they're like, are you going to be there next Thursday? Or like whatever. And I'm like, yep. They're like, okay, great. And then see them like 3 weeks later. Yeah, sure.
Last, most important question. Who is the greatest artist or band of all time?
I have watched about 12 of your podcasts while I've been making dough over the last month. And I've been contemplating this question. Because I'm just like, oh, he's gonna ask.
I don't not ask this question.
So I'm gonna let Kara answer this.
I wasn't ready for this question.
You both have to answer. It's part of the thing.
Okay, I have 2 answers, both artists, Johnny Cash and Kendrick Lamar.
Those are great.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a collab there.
Truly, I have to go with Willie Nelson.
Willie Nelson.
Nice.
That's a great one.
Johnny and Willie.
Where do we go to get in contact with you? Go check out your pizzas. Go see it.
I'm so glad you asked. I must have spent 12 hours pulling out my hair yesterday, trying to figure out how to like make a website from scratch. We just made a website that we launched at like 5 o'clock in the morning. And then,
Nice.
Yeah. So I slept like 2 hours. Everything's boyblue.la. And we have a up-to-date calendar, and I'm like going to be updating it like every time we have an event.
Boyblue.
LA.
And then your Instagram is?
Boyblue.la.